know I am beyond upset with you for moving to Texas.
Beyond.
Why did you do that? And do you regret the move? She says, I understand that you said God said it was time for some changes, but why so far? And hard, and how hard was it to just go at any cost? This is
Mm,
not one question, sis. This is like four of them.
this is deep too.
Mhm.
Okay, I had been here in Texas, and I finally put it in my phone because I don't take notes when I hear stuff, and I probably should, but I don't. And y'all that's watching, do that because the Bible say write it down, make it plain. But I don't
God said write the
always.
vision and make it plain. The
I
Bible
don't know.
said write down foolishness and make it
No,
plain.
just whatever come to your mind. Sometimes you have to jot it down so you can reflect back and be like, you know what, I heard this before. This is this. So I finally decided to put a note in my
I'm
phone.
gonna be telling you
Well,
let's
I
do
was
a
like,
public trip to Texas.
and that could have been because I like Texas, but I don't really like Texas. I
So,
ain't never really been.
I know.
But I was just like, well, I kept hearing Texas. I said, let me put it in my phone. And so I realized I had been hearing it ever since November last year. Just kept hearing the word Texas, kept hearing. So I told my husband, I said, something about Texas I cannot shake. But I have been telling my kids, I have been telling Kamari, I said, one day I'm going to live somewhere where I can walk to everything. I can enjoy the beach. I can do this. I can do that. But that was one day at some point. So I kept hearing Texas, kept hearing Texas. So one day on the way home, I called Dion and I said, we're going to be moving to Texas. And he was like, that's no surprise. You've been talking to us about Texas for months. I said, no, like, hear me. I finally understand why I've been hearing it. And so he was like, okay. So I get home, and this is probably around maybe May, June. I get home, and something say start applying. Well, the spirit say start applying for jobs. Like, I love my job because, of course, I was at Children's Hospital. I love drawing blood and I love kids, so it was the perfect combination. And I'm like, I don't need another job. I love my job, so I just started applying. And I was like, God, if it's your will, everything will fall in place. And so I had got a call from a company, and I don't care for people in professional positions that are not consistent. So if you are a secretary and you're supposed to follow up, whatever, I don't want to have to reach back out to you. I just don't. And so she hadn't got back with me, and I was just like, well, God, maybe this ain't your plan. So she wanted to hire me as a temporary employee for University of Texas medical branch. And I was like, I don't know about that. So I had also applied for University, UTMB is for short. I applied directly for them. So they called me. So when they called, I was like, so the lady, she just talked to me, gave me all this information, but I had put a certain amount of money that I wanted to make. And so I was like, this is a stretch. This is almost $10,000 more than what I'm making. And I don't even know if the position makes that amount of money. I know it didn't here. So I was like, I'm just going to put it out there. So once we talk or whatever, she's like, well, we want to interview you, whatever. So I do the interview with her and three other ladies. And then she called me back and was like, we want to hire you. And she was like, we're going to pay you exactly what you asked for. And she was like, the other lady wanted you for her location, but I want you for here. Which one will you take? So I was like, well, I'll take that with you. So then I was like, well, I need to go down and visit. But my credit had been messed up because I co-signed on a car with my daughter. And I was just like, how am I find a place? I got a mortgage in my name. I got cars in my name. Based on my income and with all the stuff I got in my name, ain't nobody gonna approve me and this, that, and the other. So we went and saw some places, applied for something, got denied. And I was like, Lord, you know your child. If I'm gonna be down here, I gotta be comfortable. I can't go and just say no anywhere. And I know that you're not that type of guy. So I was like, if it's your will, it's gonna be something nice. So anyway, I'm on my way back home, and this lady tells me, before I'm on my way back home, I go and see another place. And she was like, she needed $1,000 for the place. Now, keep in mind, she hadn't told me I had it. She was just like, she needed $1,000, which would be the first month's rent if I got approved. So I was like, well, we was in Houston. Let me go to Walmart, get a money order. I know the money center normally closed at 7:00. I got there at like 6 something. They were closed. And I was like, I ain't gonna be able to pay this. I gotta hit the road in the morning. It's a 10-hour drive. So I'm just like, oh well, God, I guess it ain't meant to be. So I had did apartment.com or whatever. I had did that just over time. So on the way back, the lady called me from the apartment. She was like, hey, I want to know if you were still interested in this place. And I was like, well, yeah, but I didn't get to see it. I was like, yeah. She was like, well, I'm going to send you everything. Go and fill it out. I'm talking about she sent me everything as if I was already approved. Important numbers, who I need to contact to get my insurance, everything. And so I applied. And I got back and I hadn't heard nothing. And I was like, she was like, go and look at it online. So I went and I looked and I was like, oh, this is nice. I like this. I said, okay. I said, but I might not get approved. I mean, the rent is almost what my mortgage is, and I got all this other stuff. And so I said I wasn't gonna reach out because I heard that some say spirit say reach out. So I reached out and she was like, oh yeah, you approved. I was like, huh? You know, she was like, you approved. And she was like, this is your deposit amount. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I called, got all my stuff set up and everything. So the apartment has a pool, has a hot tub, walking distance to the beach. I can walk to multiple restaurants. I can walk to Walmart. I can walk to grocery stores. And I have remember telling my kids I wanted to live somewhere that was walkable. And I love the beach. So I'm like, she say it's by the beach, but literally I get the breeze from the water at night. That's how close. And so I was just like, man, so she had told me I had a deposit amount. So when it was time to move in, she told me to go and pay my prorated rent. Subtract this, that, and the other and pay my prorated rent. So I'm like, okay. I go on there to pay it and I'm like, this don't include the deposit. So I'm holding on to my deposit amount, waiting for her to add it at any point. Never added it. Never added it. So I ended up just paying for first month rent. So I was just like, it's kind of go back to the story in the Bible where they talk about the man who, with each step, he said, I need another sign. I need another sign. And that's how this move was for me. I was like, God, if this is your will, I need another sign. And I'm just going to be obedient or what have you. And having my husband, I think, helped a lot, because when God is telling you to do something where there's division, you got to question if it's God. So either you connected to the wrong person or this is not his will. But for my husband, who was used to me cooking, knowing I'm a family woman, love my kids, when he said, if this is what God wants, then I'm not going to get in the way of it. And you're going to be all right. So that's how it all came to be. It was very hard. I got a lot of negative feedback from a lot of people. And I ain't talking about just like Chrissy may say, I mean, girl, why would you go away? I'm talking about some stuff that was even to the point of, why would God tell you to move way down there? You got a great job. You got a nice house. You got a good husband. You happy. And I realized in the Bible, most of the stuff that God told people to do was a radical move. A lot of stuff didn't make sense. So it's like, if you want to be in line with God, you got to be okay with being moved when he tell you to move. And for me, I struggle with control because I've always been a mom since 15. I've always had to take in charge of everything. When my mom boyfriend died, all of a sudden, it was me that my sister called to say, come over here, be with mama, because I can't handle it. So it's just been an ongoing control thing. And so this was one thing in my life that I was not in control of at all. So to get there and don't like the job, hate the job, I'm like, now I don't know if I heard God, because for one, I had already heard all the negativity of the people. I got family members asking other family members, what's going on with her and her husband? Is everything really okay? Because I guess they honestly thought I was trying to secretly leave my husband, but make it like I was being led by God. But I wasn't talking about my business with them, so they couldn't connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't tell people to the very last minute, because when God is doing a thing, you have to first get at peace with it before you start allowing other people to know what's going on, because sometimes their opinion can cause you to start to question what you know to be true. And so when I get down and I don't like the job, I'm doing a lot of crying. I'm going into almost like depression. Like, I miss my family, my husband here, my kids here. Cause let's just talk about that part. They stayed behind. So, cause Kay is a senior, she didn't want to go, and I'm like, God, you gonna take me? But my kids I've encouraged them to believe in God. I encouraged them to operate in faith. And my children was like, if this is what God want to do, Mama, then. And then my oldest son was like, Mama, this is your time. You've been taking care of us. You've been doing it. You've been doing it. Whatever. So, but when I got there in the job with what I wanted and my family was here, it just became a lot. And I think that's too when you know it be God. Because when you get to a place and you so uncomfortable that you like, this can't be me. Because I wouldn't have chose this for myself. And I did a lot of crying. I think probably for the maybe second or third time since me and my husband been together, he's seen me cry outside of something that me and him had going on. Because I think a lot of times as women, we don't really allow ourselves to be vulnerable in front of our husbands or our man. So to let him see me cry like this is really hard was hard for me. So I think it put me in a vulnerable place as well. I don't regret it, but I am in a season of what's next. Is this permanent? Is it meant for my family to come here? Were you trying to work on me and my husband individually? My YouTube channel kicked off because I was in Texas. Because I had been hearing do YouTube, and I was like, I don't want to do YouTube. I just don't. And so I had a whole lot of reasons of why not, like most of us. Why should I sell soap? Everybody else sells soap. Why should I start a YouTube channel? And that's kind of how it was for me. But being there, I was like, well, talking to this camera kind of helped me feel better because I could get some stuff off of my chest. So I was like, okay, I talk to this camera or whatever. But in talking to it, I realized when I go back and listen to it, it was blessing me just as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't regret it. I am still in a stage of trying to figure out the why. I have spent a lot more time with the Holy Spirit than I do when I'm here at home. And I think that's because you get so busy being a mom, a wife, going to work, and you just lose sight of spending that time to hear from God. So I do think it was purposeful or whatever, but I just haven't actually figured out what's the ultimate end goal. So that's pretty much how that went. It was just a faith move, just ordered by the steps of the Lord. And here we are, honey. Here we are. Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
No, that was beautiful. That
It
was
was
great. I got nuggets.
Yeah,
one thing that I did say to her when she told me is that, okay, I support you even if I don't agree with you.
Oh yeah, you
Did I
did.
say that?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
And I knew, I mean, I don't know, it's one thing that I found out about family and some friends. Why is it that when you get ready to make a radical move or God is pushing you in a certain direction, why is it that it's always got to be, well, child, it's something going on with her and her husband, it's this, it's that. What is the thing with that? Nobody's just saying, well, I'm going to pray for you, pray as you go,
I mean, because you got to think about it though. Only reason I take stuff like that to heart is because I was already in a hard time of trying to honestly stand on what I knew to be true.
Right.
So hearing the negative stuff was almost like, it was like, see, I knew you knew that this might not be a good idea. But I think you hear the saying, what's understood don't need to be explained.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand the favor of God, or if you don't understand how God moves, then other people will feel like they deserve an explanation, but you don't. And I had to get to a place where I said, I don't owe anybody an explanation. Matter of fact, it's a courtesy to even tell you in the first place. Because
Right.
I could have called you and told you I was in Texas. So it really doesn't matter. But I think in 2018, God dealt with me so much to get to 2019 to be able to say, I don't care how you feel. Not that it was wrong, not that in a bad way, but I think we spend so much time caring about how people feel, you get confused. And you can't explain a spiritual mindset to a worldly mindset person. It just
Right.
doesn't work. So you don't always question, especially if you ain't never really had nobody in your family. You may be the first person who making faith moves. You know what I'm saying? You may be the first person making a spiritual move. Now here you is telling all these people to just understand it. You know, like that don't. So I just was like, you know what? You don't have to understand it. That's cool. That's fine by me. But I gotta do what I gotta do. But you know, God had me go to California years ago when we and I said, I don't know if this is permanent.
Right.
I don't know if this is temporary. But my supervisor told me, Martha told me, she said, you go and you do what you feel like you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
When I called my supervisor and said, God told me to be back on this day, she said, I know it. She said, we'll see you at work on Monday. It was just like I had been off.
Right.
My job was saved for me, but I was just being obedient. So I feel like whenever God has you to do something, he provides provision.
That's right.
And so that's just, and I guess I just had to get okay with, because you know, certain people who are like super, super close to you, you want them to be happy for you. You just want them to. But sometimes they just don't understand it. And I was just like, oh, well, okay. I don't care. Oh, yeah.
And that's the point that I want to get to, that point to where I can just say, well, I really don't need your approval. I really don't want your approval.
Right.
It's just I want to get there. I want to be right there. I don't want your approval. I don't need your approval. It's okay if you say that you're all right with it. It's okay if you don't say anything. It's okay if you think whatever you think. But I want to get there. I'm almost there.
It just is work. Just keep there. But you have to get the Galatians 1:10. God gave me that scripture a while back when I had to sit down and talk to my kids, because I had got so to a place of where you want your kids to see you as a good mom. You want people to see you as a good person.
Right.
And so just about every move you make becomes about how you want people to see you. And so in Galatians 1:10, it pretty much tell you, you can't serve them and please me, and you gotta choose. Hold on to Galatians.
Galatians what? 1:10.
Yes.
Yes. They'll hold on to Galatians 1:10. Well, before we glitch back out, that was really good. I enjoy all of that. Like, I see this, I know this is probably the third video everybody gonna be watching, because I'm gonna just make this a 3-part series, because that was like actually good. And then we have our bonus question. I didn't have a bonus question. I just kind of wanted to listen to you all. I got to hear some funny stuff. I got to hear some serious stuff. Oh, excuse me. That really like helped me out and made me think about my friendship. So the question that I'm going to ask is, what are some skills, maybe some traits, and then some practices that we hear a lot about marriage, but in listening to you all with friendship, what are some things that we can do? We know the exercises, if you will, that you do in marriages to keep it strong, but what are some things you could do in friendships, especially with you all being, age difference and long distance? So what are some things that, friendships or friends can practice to help make their relationship strong? Anybody else? Anybody first? Don't matter.
Well, as far as Marquita and I, we have just kind of like just always been there for each other. Marquita has this thing where she would just do stuff. Like when I was doing my phlebotomy or whatever, and that's how we met, doing phlebotomy. But then I went to one place and then she went somewhere else. But then if she had an off day or whatever, and she just happened to be around my job where I am, she'll just show up with a chai tea, or just sometimes she would just buy little things, and then she would just say little things. And sometimes every morning Every morning, Marquita never says good morning to me. Never does she say good morning.
She'll be lying.
Every morning, I send her a text message saying good morning to her after after her videos. When she drop a video, I send her an encouraging word, because sometimes, you realize how hard these things are. And if it's not for like your friends, who else is going to uplift you and going to pray for you and going to push you through and be there for you when nobody else is there? And we've always been like 100 with each other, whether we have to have a little spat or whatever. We're always going to tell each other, well, you was wrong when you did that. Well, what you need to do is this. The way you should have handled it was this. Whether we want each other's advice or whatever, at that moment, we realize that what we're saying to each other is for our good. It's true. It's real love. It's no if, ands, or buts about it. I mean, I think that Marquita was going through like a little thing in her second marriage that really helped me to stay in this marriage. So what she was going through really blessed me so that I can know what not to do. She experienced something, and then she was able to tell me, okay, now this, that, and whatever. And then when things get kind of like tough with us, I'm like on the phone calling her saying, okay, look, girl, this is it. He got a deadline. He got this time next week. This time next week, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. By this time next week, I'm going to be gone. Like, girl, you're not leaving, honey. You're not going nowhere. And then the thing about Marquita that makes me always stop and think when I call her about something is she say this. She said, why would you want to do something? Or I'm just going to say, why would you want to be upset with Honey about that? Why would you want to be upset with Honey for being Honey? In other words, you already knew that he was that way when you married him. You knew he was that way last year. So this is nothing new. This is the same stuff that we've been talking about for almost 9 years now. So what, and she's like one of the ones that just like encourage me. So what are you going to do differently to change that? And Marquita and I, we've just like always done stuff. We had a dynamic couples group together. That couples group, I really, really miss that.
I do.
Just the dating, the getaways, the games we used to play. I mean, we've just had like just so much. So basically, the tip that I would give anybody as far as a steady friendship is the same thing that you need in marriage: honesty and consistency.
Yeah. Now that's true. For me, I would have to say I'm a firm believer in what the Bible say about if you find a friend, you're truly blessed. And I think when you learn that, everybody don't get the title of friend. So you treat it differently. You handle it different. You prioritize different. And I'm big on prioritizing. If I'm your friend, I need to know I'm your friend. And you can't just treat a friendship like it's gonna be there, because it need to be nurtured just like a marriage. It needs to be nurtured. It need to be taken care of. And I think so often you need to know, baby, you need to be connected to somebody who can take you to some place. I believe that who you choose as your friend could be the difference between life and death. I think I came into that realization. I don't know, y'all maybe find a video about the black guy. I think he was like 25. Christine, I may have sent you that, where he had died. And he was in the car with his father. And he said the Holy Spirit told him to touch your son and pray right now.
Mm-hmm.
Think about if you my friend and I'm not in tune with the Holy Spirit and you having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So now your connection to me means death versus life, because I'm not hearing from God. I don't know what you need to save you. And that's more so for me now than ever before. Anybody that's in my life, I need you to be beneficial. I need you to pour into me just as much as I can pour into you. Maybe not at the same time, maybe not in the same way, maybe not to the same degree, but it needs to be a circle. It needs to be an even exchange. Because if not, one person will feel more used than the other. And I think with my friendships, we have always been intentional about dating each other. Like, I don't know why people don't think you gotta date your best friend or your friend.
I missed that.
I know we need that time. I need to be able to sit across the table and talk to you. I need to be able to call you and cry to you. But I need to be able to also be disconnected from you and realize it's nothing personal. Because a lot of times with friendships too, I think if it ain't about you, you may start to feel some type of way. So I think if you're gonna honestly be a friend, the skills you need to first understand is what do you bring to the table as a friend? Because some people asking for more than they bring. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the time for everybody you want to call a friend? Because when the titles become responsibilities, you know, when you call a man your husband, that's a different level of responsibility than when you call him your bae or your boo. Now we may treat it the same, but it ain't the same. So if I call you my associate, I'm gonna handle you different than I handle my friend. And it's just what it is, because if I handle everybody the same, I'm stretched too thin. And sometimes less is more. So I just feel like when you put yourself in a position to call somebody a friend, mean it. Know if they deserve the title, because everybody you get a title to don't deserve it. And once you weed out that stuff, and of course discernment, you gotta have discernment for a solid friendship. Because otherwise you're gonna miss some stuff, you're gonna entertain some stuff, and you're gonna be like, God, I can't believe I thought this person was my friend, and 10 years then passed by and you can't get it back. So for me, friendship has to be, I'm like Christina, it got to be consistent, it got to be honest, and there has to be intentionality and mutual respect. There has to be mutual respect for our differences. Me and Christina is very different in a lot of ways, but where it matters the most, where two or three can come together and pray, I know that she is in that two or three. And that's one of the things that's going to matter the most for me. If you're not faith built, that's different for you. But for me, I need somebody that can pray for me when I can't pray for myself. So that would probably be the things for me the most out of everything. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I thank y'all for that advice. I have a lot of nuggets that I wrote down, so it was nice. Like, I know it was just nice seeing, like, you know, I need to bring my other friend on here too, you know. So I just like that.
I need to bring my other friend. What other friend?
I need to bring my other friend.
Alana, Anana, Anaya.
I would never do this. But Doreen, my teacher friend, but we'll be doing something in the new year together on Facebook. So that's something to come. Stay tuned. While I'm going ahead and plug, Marquita, do you want to go ahead and plug in your, I know you mentioned your channel, but go ahead and talk about your channel about 1 minute, you know, your channel and what do your channel offer for our subscribers.
Oh my. Well, it is Keep It Real with Marquita. Like Christina said, my channel is just a mixture of who I am, life situations, Monday morning inspirations. But anything in my video, I'm going to always try to point you back to God. Period, point blank. If that's not your thing, I'm cool with that. But out of every area in my life, I've been able to apply God. So that's my ultimate goal is to be able to talk to you like we're real people, to allow you into my life and to get to know you more, but to also let you know that God is real and that there's nothing too hard and that there's always a chance for tomorrow. So just look forward to it. So that's the main thing my channel is about. That's why I call it Keep It Real, because I may be on there talking about some foolishness, but I'm going to tell you about God. And then I might just be on there to just encourage you, but I'm going to tell you about God. And so that's what the ultimate goal is, just let you know how good He is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. So I'm definitely gonna have to take out the channel because, like,
Yeah.
Sis be telling me so much stuff that I'm like, I can't keep up with. But I'm glad she been talking about doing this for so long, and I told her, I said I got StreamYard now. So now we can do a lot of fun stuff. I may leave y'all on here to chat. Because I can do that. But thank y'all so much. This has been great. Thank you, Chrissy and Sissy family and subscribers. I don't know if this is the third part or the fourth part. It may be 5 parts. However, I've seen a 5-part video, but I really enjoyed it. I hope y'all have gotten some nuggets out of this, just about their friendship, and then just everything they did is without us even having to do a script. It referred back to God, and it pointed us right back to God. So even God and our friendship, I like that whole thing about like with your friend. It's almost like sometimes like dating your friend. Like I like the whole thing of having signs, especially for y'all to be married, because a lot of us think that once you get married, you don't have no friends. And I've seen women who, their husband was their best friend, and they lost their husband, and they literally have no one. So I like the fact that, both married and friends. All right, sis, anything you got to say before I just close it out? We just close it out.
We can just close it out. Thank you so much, Marquita, for coming on and playing with
me. Thank you. Yes, honey.
Playing with me. We have one more thing that we're going to do. We're going to have to plan out when we're going to do it, because we want Marquita to go ahead so she can spend time with Mr. Walker Bear. With Mr. Walker Bear, since she's in town for a brief while. So, but we will definitely get together and plan that. I guess it'll be 4th or 5th video, depending on what's.
Yeah, I'll let y'all know.
Yeah, we're gonna do a marriage talk, because we get into that, talk about that consistency. That's just one thing. Just being consistent. Don't be one way with me today and another way with me tomorrow. Don't do me.
All right.
Okay. All right. So.
All right, sis.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all for watching. Follow all of us. All of us in the description.
All of us.
Follow all of us. We usually say happy studying for Sunday school, but we just gonna say bye. Say bye to the camera. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See y'all.
Bye, y'all.